The headcrab. The parasite itself latches onto the head of its victims, or its prey, in order to take control of its body and exploit it for nutrients and food or whatever else. The headcrab's bottom cavity is where it latches onto the head of its victim, and then the claws, or beak, as Dr. Kleiner calls it, is used to latch on and prevent people from ripping off the headcrab. Dr. Kleiner's pet headcrab, Lamar, has its beak removed so that they cannot latch on anyone else's head, so it can't take over any more bodies. The victim is in a coma-like state at this point. 10 minutes in, the transformation process has already started. This can be seen when the hands are twitching. This means that the headcrab is slowly starting to turn these hands into claws so that it can defend itself from imposing forces. After 25 minutes, the hands of the victim have started to morph and bend or break into the shape that the headcrab needs for claws. The muscles are ripping and tearing, while the bones are slowly growing to extremely unnatural sizes. While this is happening, the headcrab is slowly gives nutrients to the headcrab, so it's a scenario. As the cycle goes, the headcrab gives blood to the victim, while the victim feeds and gives nutrients to the headcrab, so it's a scenario where the other keeps the other alive. However, in order to feed, an extra orifice needs to be made as the head is covered and the mouth cannot be used. The headcrab uses his arms to rip open the chest of the victim in order to make an auxiliary mouth to feed from, using the ribs as teeth sometimes. By the time this happens, the victim cannot be saved. Even if the headcrab is ripped off, the victim will just immediately die. No one can survive like that. The headcrab is now the victim's life support. Oh yeah, and by the time this is done, the hands will be turned into claws. Forgot to mention that. After 32 minutes, the process is complete. At the slightest disturbance, the zombified body of the headcrab's victim awakens. The victim's muscular system, skeletal system, nervous system, and circulatory system are all completely taken over by the headcrab. The victim can no longer control its own body. However, it is very conscious about what is going on and is in extreme pain, as all it can do is scream and moan and cry and yell for help. But really all you can do for it is give it a quick death. This sniper just did this guy a favor. Well then, the zombine. The zombine is relatively same process as normal headcrab zombies. However, it is unable to feed due to the fact that the headcrab's arms are not strong enough to rip open the chest cavity because of the combine's bulletproof vest that it wears 24/7. So, the lifespan of the zombine is usually pretty slim. Oh, and also, a slight side effect to the transhuman augmentations. The combine in question is able to slightly resist the headcrab's influence at times, allowing itself to speak in its radio or even sometimes pull out a grenade to commit suicide. Because really, just imagine how much pain that soldier is in. After another 32 minutes, the zombine awakens. Using its training that the body has with muscle mass and the zombine can sometimes dash at its enemies at great speeds. So, the zombine is slightly more powerful, slightly faster than a normal headcrab zombie, and is a lot harder to take down. Oh yeah, it also explodes itself to kill people. In itself. Oh yeah, and since this is a transhuman combo we're talking about, the helmet or mask or whatever you want to call it is stuck to the head of the combine. So the headcrab is generally stuck to the head, and if the headcrab gets blown off, the head is taken with it. leaving a jawline. The cranium is nowhere to be seen again. Well, it looks like this shotgunner has lived to fight another day. Or has it? The poison headcrab. The poison headcrab is a genetically engineered headcrab made by the Combine, using the big mama pods they have back in whatever hellish base they you make them in. These little guys are stuffed into tubes and groups and released into the wild in order to attack rebel insurgents. However, the poison headcrab cannot kill alone. The poison headcrab requires some other lethal force to take care of the job, while the enemy is weakened. Just as the headcrab is not able to kill by itself, it also cannot take a body by itself. This is why headcrabs are usually seen traveling in packs. The headcrabs require each other's teamwork in order to take down a single body and zombify it. After only about 5 minutes, the poison headcrabs have released their sort of deadly neurotoxin into the body to melt away any unneeded tissue in order to fully zombify it. Oh yeah, this also bloats the body, making the body slightly larger and more disgusting than it originally was, making it slightly more impervious to attacks, but also making it heavier. After about 10 minutes, the body is almost ready to rise, collecting a puddle of really disgusting tissue on the floor. That is from melting off the body and, oh god, ugh. Just, alright, you get the point. After this process, the body is slow to rise, due to the weight of the bloated body and the multitude of headcrabs that are basically piled up on it. Sometimes the zombie fails to get up a couple of times and takes his time getting up. Once the poison zombie is finally up, it cannot stand up straight ever again, mostly because of the weight of the bloated body. It is forever stuck in a hunched over position, carrying all of the headcrabs on its back. You can also use these headcrabs as a defense mechanism against foes. He can either let the headcrabs jump off of him, or he can physically throw them at an enemy, slowly incapacitating an enemy so that he can go over there and slap him to death.
The new Lexus IS. All in on the sports sedan. Experience amazing at your Lexus dealer.
The fast headcrab. Yet another genetically engineered headcrab made by the Combine. However, instead of groups, these tend to travel individually. They are released in pods into the wild to attack insurgents also. However, it focuses more on movement than it does protection. Not even a minute after being headcrab, the body goes under its transformation process, and discards anything that is not needed for movement, including the epidermis, the dermis sometimes, all non-vital organs, and some muscles. Only 15 minutes after the process, the body is ready. It awakens. It is extremely nimble, fast, and can leap at its enemies, and is pretty deadly. However, the body is weak to the weakest of attacks. These zombies are weak in small numbers. However, in packs... Well, that concludes this video. Hope you liked it. It's a remaster of a remaster. Never thought I'd get that deep into things. But it had